Hello guys and welcome to a new We Talk UAV video. In this video we're going to tell you why we prefer the Ronin-S over the Crane for our job. Let's go inside. Hello guys and welcome again. This is Alex Asmacher, and you know by now we've seen tons of comparisons between the Crane 2 and the Ronin-S, and that's fine. Comparing specs, the weight, the battery endurance, everything, that's perfect. But now we do care a little bit about our jobs, you know, covering sports events, wedding, even filming for this channel, and the experience we've had 1 week with both the Crane and the Ronin. And these are the facts that we're gonna tell you.
Sometimes I'm so home. Sometimes I know I'm so home.
Chivo, pass me the cam, please. So let's start this video, including a couple of tests we did this morning. You know, sometimes we do for some shootings, some chasing cars and motorbikes. So we took a motorbike and Chivo in a car, and he was just following me at a high speed, about 60-65 kilometers per hour. And this is what happened. Well, we're here on an open road with a nice motorbike and a car and a driver and Chivo on the camera, and we're gonna do a high-speed chasing. He's gonna be chasing me from the car and me driving the motorbike, and then a lateral test to see if the Ronin or the Crane both, you know, skew the axis a little bit. So let's take a look. As you've seen on both tests, one was just chasing me and the other one some kind of lateral shooting. And you could see first that, you know, chasing there wasn't a big difference, but the Ronin was a little bit more stable at higher speeds. And then later on the parallel test, you saw clearly that the Crane was tilting and skewing the axis a little bit more than even the Ronin, which was pretty stable. So that gives us definitely the right to use the Ronin in this kind of scenarios. The second thing we want to talk today here is about the tracking performance, and for that purpose we had a paid job. Chivo had a paid job last week with some karate school, and he took both the Ronin and the Crane, and now you can see the difference when, you know, some kind of fast movements, how both reacted. So take a look. So we know that this test may be a little bit hard to see the difference, and for that we thought, okay, Chivo, let's do a real test here. I will be following with the camera on both gimbals, your hand, and see which one reacts faster, more accurate and better. The next situation we have tons of times when working is, you know, fast moving objects or person or a dog or something like that. And, you know, the Ronin has this sport mode while pressing the M button. And, you know, let's see, we have a bunch of dogs playing around, as you can hear, and we're gonna just chase them to see which one reacts better when fast moving objects. One of the most important things here also that we've not been commenting yet is this angled roll motor. The most fundamental part here is that this little motor here is not in the middle of your sight when watching, you know, the screen of the camera. This is very important because most of the newer cameras have that nice touch screen, and you just can't forget the touch screen on the crane because you just are not able to get. And if you want to pull the focus by touching something, we do that a lot in the weddings when there's a close shot, a close-up of two faces, and you want to jump the focus from one to another one. You just, here on the Ronin you can do it, on the crane you just can't. And this is something that is fundamental, as I'm saying, for us. So the thing here is, even though I can do like a little bit like this and touch the screen, it's not as perfect, of course, as on the Ronin. And the problem here is that I just can't see the screen. Chivo, I just have it in front of my eyes, and you know, in order to see if my histogram down there is correct, I have to go a little bit like this, and you know. Another thing that is very important to us sometimes in order to get the right frame composition is the joystick and how accurate that is and how fast it responds to what we need. We do make weddings and sports events and kind of events like this where you're actually in a rush, and sometimes you're just depending on how fast the joystick is in order to get the right composition. And here we've seen, when using both in the same kind of events, that, let me just show you, if I push the joystick full to the right and then full to the left and up and down, you can clearly see that there is one, in this case the Ronin-S, that is responding much faster and actually way more accurate to where I want to aim. This is very important also because ergonomically the joystick of the Ronin-S reminds us, it is an actual joystick, it reminds us to the joysticks of the drone controllers where you can be way more accurate. On the other hand, the crane has this plain button somehow that reminds us to the phone gimbals where, you know, it gets sometimes slippery a little bit. If you're sweating or so, you just may miss it. And overall, the feeling that we get when using this joystick and, you know, creating this composition is that the Ronin joystick in this case does a much better job. Something that is very important too, both when you, for example, move them a little bit and press twice the Ronin, the trigger button, and twice the mode button, you get them back to the initial position. That is good. Now, if I press the trigger 3 times, it goes to the selfie mode. And if I press the mode button 3 times, it goes to the selfie mode. Until now, everything is exactly the same and it works perfectly. But there is a big difference, and now we're going to talk about the convenience of having a trigger on a gimbal. Let's, for example, take the Ronin-S, okay? And I'm gonna press with my finger the trigger. And of course, this makes that it is locked. And if I'm in a wedding, for example, or just filming something moving, if at a sudden point I just want to, you know, pan to the left, I release and it moves to the left, and then I keep filming. Okay, this is something, let me just repeat it. If I'm having it locked and I just want to pan fastly to the left, I can do it by releasing the finger. This is very important. And here the problem, if you don't have a trigger, you're now in lock mode, okay, the same. But if I just want suddenly to pan to the right, I have to put my finger, press the button, get into the pan follow modus, and then it turns right. I've lost time, I've lost the car passing the fast goal, I just missed everything and I had to concentrate, look down and press the button, okay? This is something that is not very good on the crane. And second, and also very important, just imagine that you're holding the Ronin like this because you're filming some details like some hands or something like that, and at some point you just want to recenter everything, but you're comfortable in this body position, so you just press twice the trigger and you recenter. And see what happened? The camera recentered itself straight to the ground, 90 degrees, not to the gimbal. This is very important because when we're using the crane like we've been using, now in lock mode, if you go like this and sometimes it starts going a little bit crazy and you just want to do the same because you're filming some hands and recenter, you hit twice the mode button and it recenters straight to the gimbal. This is a problem because you saw what just happened. It's just looking down. I wanted to go and film up, so I would have to enter in another mode, pull up the trigger and all that like this, the button. And this is very important because in a real job out there on the field, when you're filming, again, events or something like that, you don't have the time to lose it by looking down, entering different modes, pulling everything, you know, you just have to be quick. And the Ronin has managed to do all this kind of things, you know, thinking a little bit, the software thinks for you and just recenters and makes your life easier. The crane is a little bit complicated here. So this is something that you guys have to have always in your mind. Another very important thing when you're out there shooting and you are in a rush, you don't have the time, are the customized functions, because they will save you a lot of time. The Ronin-S has 3 customizable functions where you can switch from one to another by pressing the M button. Now, for example, in this case we have on the mode 1 a very slow move of the joystick, and if you go to the mode 2 we have a way faster, and on the third, when you put like this, we have put the inception mode, which actually, you know, it's that famous shot that you do like this. So this is very important. And the fourth, and don't forget that when you push, press and hold the M button, you enter the sport mode, which allows you, it's like a fourth mode, to be much faster when tracking something. You know, the problem on the crane is it doesn't have as many customized functions, and all the different settings, you may get confused because at some of them you have to push the button once, then twice, and then as you don't have a trigger, you mix it up and the camera recenters. So it's kind of a little bit confusing. And again, if you're in that rush, you probably will gonna miss that. And in the end, what you're doing is doing a bad job that this gimbal right now is able to make you look better. Another couple of things that we've been seeing today, that we've been shooting with both and are kind of exhausted already. Of course, the crane is smaller and it doesn't weigh as much as the Ronin, but, you know, on the other hand, the Ronin has the capability of dismounting and, you know, saving some space when transporting. Also very important that we've seen, the Ronin has like this third axis to, when calibrating, you can actually move it around in order to put some bigger cameras on it. The crane, you don't really have an axis to adjust here. This L plate makes that if you have a big camera such as the 1DX, as you have seen on Parker Wahlbeck's review, you need to purchase another L plate a bigger plate in order to fit your camera in. The last thing that we want to mention today about, you know, after using both for this exhausting shooting day, is that the crane, you know by now that it works with this kind of batteries. The good thing of these batteries, of course, is that they last longer, and that if you are out there a month in the forest, you can buy as many as you want and just, you know, you keep changing them and you will have time forever. The bad thing, on the other hand, is, of course, this is dangerous. I mean, you know everything that happens, especially in the US with the electronic cigarettes and the e-cigars, that literally, if you, for example, you know, in a rush and just put one of them in your pocket without thinking too much, and you have some keys or anything that could make contact, they may really blow up inside your pocket. So this is kind of, you know, we don't like that much. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot. The driver today at the test, Belenchus, she wanted us to say thank you for her nice driving behind the motorbike, so thank you for you too. So we spent with these two gimbals in the past week more time than with our girlfriends, so we kind of have an idea how they work. And talking about ergonomics, you know, it's been already said, but I have to, you know, talk a little bit about it. This one feels better in your hand, and it has that nice shape, this rubber, that it doesn't slip out of your hand like this one. I don't know what they were thinking when they created this, you know, so big and black, but it just slips out of my hand. And for that reason, we didn't know it until now, but if you remember our unboxing, this came inside the box, and at first I thought it was stickers. Yes, stickers, but when we took a closer look, and after this nice experience of everything slipping out of my hand, we saw that it's some kind of tape for putting around the gimbal, so that you can actually feel and play around as if it was your tennis racket. And right now, I'm in the mood to play some tennis. One of the things we're also very excited about the new Ronin-S is the capability of this gimbal of adding third-party hardware and some extra parts, for example the DJI Force Pro or the master wheels or even that Futaba remote controller. The Crane, on the other hand, is not capable of working with any third-party hardware, and right now we've only been using the gimbal for shooting, but we're also very excited to use that kind of parts on the Ronin. Well guys, up to this point and after a few days using both, as you've seen, and doing some tests and doing a bunch of stuff with both of them, I have to say that, of course, as the title says in this video, we prefer the Ronin-S. I mean, the Crane 2 is not a bad gimbal, we never said that. It's just that the Ronin, the DJI, had one more year developing technology and some things, as you've seen here, to make a better and more efficient and modern gimbal. So summing a little bit up guys, even though it's a little bit more expensive than the Crane, for us we'd go all the way with the Ronin always. It's easier to use, easier to set up, it's more reliable, and those kind of events like weddings, and I'm really telling you this, it's much easier to use. We just don't have the time to do everything here, and it gets confusing at some point. So overall, those were the reasons why we really decided to do this video, because we felt we had to share that after 1 week of use, and nothing really else to say guys. If you have any question or want us to do some more tests on both of them or whatever, just leave it in the comments. You know that we always do answer them, and have a nice chat with you guys. Leave a like also for Chivo on the camera, subscribe if you're not yet, and just always remember to keep calm and talk UAV. Excuse me, can I play some tennis with you?
Yeah, but you need a racket or something?